Hello, hello. Welcome to the, I guess we're calling this the Ask the Organizer. I'm Catherine Lawrence, and we're live today talking about the business of professional organizing. So thanks for joining me. I know some of you guys have been on a live Q&A with me previously. It looks like good. We've got a couple of people already here. So thanks for joining me again. If this is a second or third live that you've attended, and if we have some new people here, that's awesome as well. If you're new to my channel on YouTube, it's so I'm a certified professional organizer, and I started my business back in 2002, and I started hiring and training employees in my company probably I think 2004. So I've been training and coaching professional organizers as well as running my own business. And that's what I like to talk about. I have courses, I coach lots of business owners, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So welcome. The way this works, you guys, a couple of you have emailed me questions ahead of time. So thank you for that. So I usually start with some questions that have come in previously while we're getting people on here to join. And then as you join, put your questions in the comments section, and then I'll kind of pull those up on screen and we'll kind of go from there. I feel like I'm showing like a lot of screen today. I don't know why. The camera's like in the exact same position it usually is, but I don't know. I feel kind of small. Hold on, let me see if I can. I'm just gonna pop it down a little bit, see if that helps. Okay, that's a little better. I feel a little more centered. Maybe that's just in my head. But so welcome again. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. And the question I got this week, and if you guys are on my email list, this is the question I sent out today. Let me pull it up on my email here. And when I got this question, I really it kind of, I know you guys are doing this, and I've talked about it before in other videos, but I really want to make sure that you guys have a real clear answer on this one, because I don't want you to do anything that's going to harm your business or that's going to not help you have like a thriving business. Like I don't want you to spend too much money on stuff or that. So let me see if I can pull that email up in my inbox here. Oh, no, that's not it. Sorry, I've got a couple of emails here. Let me see if I can find the right one that I want to start with today, because I think it's a pretty good one. Okay, so I received this email, and it says, the biggest road bump for me right now is quoting my clients properly for products. So she wants to give a quote ahead of time for the organizing products that she's bringing into a job. Okay, so she went in and did an estimate, and she underestimated the cost of products for a pantry. Thankfully, the client was, understanding. She took a little bit of a loss, but it's a learning experience. So her question is, should I give my clients a flat quote for products? Do I ask them what their budget is ahead of time and stay within that budget? And, just trying to figure out the product piece of it. So I have actually gotten this question so many times that I have created, I think, 2 videos on my YouTube channel. One about should you bring containers to to an organizing job, and the second one is about creating estimates and proposals ahead of time. So watch those videos if you want a little more information, but I just want to kind of jump right into how I sort of feel about creating estimates and quoting product prices ahead of time, because my thought is, do not do it. Okay. What's going to happen is, I think what some of you guys are doing is you're going to a client. You said, a client says, I need my pantry organized or my closet. You're saying, okay, let me go take a look. You go to the house without charging a rate. This is what I know some of you guys are doing, and we're going to talk about how not to do this. So you're going in, you're saying, okay, well, let me just come take a look at the space. And you're looking around and you're like, yeah, they need hangers, they need bins, they need, a little bit of product here. I need a second rod here to maximize space. So you're kind of calculating that in your head. And then you're going back home and you're trying to work up this whole estimate with like product prices and all these things, and then present that to the client and say, okay, it's going to be, $2,000 to do this, or $500. And then the client is saying, well, let me think about that. Or they're saying, go ahead and do it. But then when you go shopping, you realize your estimates are off for your time and your products. So that is the big problem. So what I would like you guys to do instead, and what I teach my students and coaching mentees as well to do, is I want you to start with a paid consultation. Okay. So if by chance the client only needs products, what you're going to do in that consultation that they are going to hire you to do is go in and basically create a storage solution for them. So you're going to measure, you're going to say, okay, you need 4 shoe boxes here and here and these things. So once you get paid for that time, and then you can present that to your client. I use a Trello board with, links and different things. And you can go and you can say, like, okay, here it is. Like this is your plan for this space with the products. Then that client can purchase the products directly using the links that you've provided. So you're not purchasing those products. And if they want to have them delivered to their home, you don't even have to go to the store and buy them and worry about returns or any of that. And you've gotten paid for your time, and your client knows exactly what products that they need to purchase in order to organize their space. So I would absolutely recommend that direction if the client only needs products. But let's talk about like which probably more likely and more, I would say this is probably 90% of the time what's actually going to happen. And I would say with me, 99% of the time what happens is that you walk into a home that's very disorganized. The problem is not that they don't have enough containers. The problem is that they have too much stuff. And maybe they've already bought containers, and now that's also part of the clutter. So majority of what I do as a professional organizer, and I know a lot of what my colleagues are doing as professional organizers, is we're actually going in and working to streamline, minimize the stuff, so we're working with them to declutter, downsize, all of those things. And you have to do that before you can get the right container. Okay. So when you are starting with a new client, they're going to call you up or email you and say, I have a problem getting organized and all of that. And as part of that initial consultation, I think what you're going to find is that it's more of a problem with the stuff and decluttering than it is with the product. So we don't want to just go in and say, okay, you need a bunch of shoe boxes and all of these things, because that's not the reality of what's going on. So don't feel that pressure to give these estimates, to do these big proposals. You guys may do those and not actually get paid for your time. And I don't want you to lose money that way. And then also, if you're just starting out, you haven't even had, say, like 5 or 10 paid clients yet, it's likely those estimates are not going to be right. You're not going to quite get your timing right. And also, a lot of it has to do with the client. The client may be slow at making decisions. They may want to keep things that you feel they should let go of. And there's kind of this dance sort of with the stuff to get to that point where you can put the products in. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Go to the channel, watch those 2 videos. I think I put them in the description of this video, which is proposals and estimates, and also bringing containers. It's a question I get all the time. So I know I've talked about it on other lives, but I just wanted to reiterate it again with you guys here because it's still a question that I'm getting that's coming in. So I hope that cleared it up for you. Let me see, I've got Joanne here. Let me see if I can bring your question into my screen. There we go. Awesome. I love technology. Hi, Joanne. Okay, so she says, is it worthwhile to resell clothes, accessories purged on a client's behalf using Poshmark, eBay, and what would you charge, a % or flat fee? So I'm going to caution you a little bit because, again, my wish for you guys is to have a thriving, money-making business. And so I don't want you to go like too far down a path of something that you may lose some money. And this is actually a really common request from a client. I mean, this happened to me. It was probably like my fourth client, like 20 years ago, was like, hey, I've got all this stuff. I've got, all these baby toys and clothes. Like, I'll give you 50% if you box it up and take it to the consignment store for me. And I've absolutely had students who have brought this concern to me that, the client is saying, well, they're going to split it with me, or what would I charge? Okay. So caution, red flag. What I would really not do this, and I'll tell you why. And then I'm going to tell you how you can make a little bit of money on the service side if you want to get involved with consignment and resale. So the problem is you have no idea what these things are going to sell for. And there seems to be a pattern that I've noticed with clients where they say, well, I paid $400 for this dress, so I'm sure I can get $100 for it. And the reality is, I think we all probably fall into this category. We think our stuff is worth a little bit more than what it might be worth, whereas it may be something that only sells for, $12 on Poshmark, even though they may have paid hundreds of dollars for it. So, we really don't know what these items are worth. And even in a best case scenario, they may not sell. So, you may say, okay, these $400 jeans, I've seen them sell for eBay in the past for $40, but for some reason, this, you have to keep relisting this pair of jeans. So that's going to take a lot of time. And then once they're even sold, now the real work begins. You have to email, with the Poshmark or eBay buyer. So there's sort of a back and forth with email. They may want to return the item, and now there's more work on top of that. And even if you're doing local consignment, you may bag up, 20 bags of clothing for your client, and then you go to the consignment store and they say, well, we're only taking this season, or can you come back and make an appointment tomorrow? So you've driven down there, but now you've brought too many bags and you have to come back the next day. So there's a lot of factors in here that can make reselling these clothing and accessories a very long, tedious process that may take weeks, and the items may never sell. So I'm 100% against taking a percentage, it's like splitting money with a client. I don't do that for any items. I like to kind of keep the selling separate. So I'll tell you what you can do, and you actually can add this to your services and earn some money helping your clients do consignment. So what I would do is during your session, and I have done this with eBay, during my paid session, so I'm getting paid my full rate at a customer's home, I'm on the clock, I'm going to open eBay and I'm going to kind of educate them about some of their items. So I've done this with like sports memorabilia or antiques. Books is a good one. So I can take these apps and talk to my client about some potential values. So back to, I did a storage unit filled with sports memorabilia, and I'm not a sports memorabilia expert, but just going on the app and kind of educating him on how to use eBay to do research, I was able to kind of point out a few items that did seem to consistently have a high resale value, and then a couple of items that only either didn't sell or would sell for like $1. And again, I've done that with books as well. So you can at least advise your client using some online sources to say, hey, here, I'm going to teach you how to use Poshmark. I'm going to teach you how to use eBay and an online selling, and then I'm going to leave you with the stuff and with the app and with the resources, and you yourself are going to do that. You're going to, do the selling yourself. And I do this too with Facebook Marketplace. It's kind of the same thing with Facebook Marketplace. Like people will email you back and forth, and then they want to pick something up, and then they don't show up, and then they'll show up a day later. So I will help my client list items. I will show them how to use it. And then it's really up to them to complete those sales and communicate with the buyer, because sometimes it's that communication. It can kind of go back and forth, and you're getting messages in the middle of the night, and you just don't want to deal with that. Another way that you actually can incorporate local consignment into your business is you can, box and bag things up and then charge them. I would kind of charge it the same as you would charge like a shopping rate. And, you want to call ahead of time. Your client really has to have a good relationship already with that consignment store and know what they take. And some do offer a drop off. So I can add like an hour to my session. Let's say I'm doing a 3-hour session, and I'm going to add an additional hour to prep and deliver consignment items. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, package it the way they want. I'm going to take it to the store. I'm going to make sure, the store is open and accepting that day. And then I'm going to kind of walk away from it. And some consignments will allow, they'll either, if there's items they don't want, they will donate them from the store. So if they have that policy, you can just take the items to the store and say, any items you want to sell, put on my client's account that's already set up. And then if you're not selling those items, please donate them on our behalf. So you can still, get paid and provide services to your client, but I would not sell items for them or take a percentage. So, bit of caution there. I've heard too many stories about that sort of not working out, and again from my own experience. Awesome. So I see a couple of more people have joined us. Welcome. I gotta say, I'm really not liking this camera. I am like really red. I don't think I'm that red in real life. But yeah, trying out this camera. I don't know. Not liking it so much. So let's see. We've got a question here. Laura, I see your question coming in. Okay, here we go from Laura. So Laura asks, can you build a successful business virtually rather than going to clients' homes? So there are a couple of ways to actually work in the organizing field and in the organizing community. Oh, that's funny. Another question came in here about talking about virtual organizing. Hold on, let me put this chat up here. Yeah, so kind of the same question here about the virtual organizing. Oh, shoot, it doesn't come up. Well, it'll come up in a little bit. So a resource for you, Laura, and also for Beautiful Day Organizing is to go to the virtual chapter of NAPO. NAPO, that's the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, and they have a virtual chapter. So you would need to be a member of the full national association, and then you can join the virtual chapter. The reason I point you in that direction is because I know they have members there who do almost exclusively virtual work. And I know they've given some presentations since COVID, since we've been living in COVID, they've given some very detailed presentations about working virtually. So yes, there are organizers who work, in that realm. I do some of that. I actually really prefer to go to clients' homes. However, and that probably since about 2018, and thankfully before COVID even hit, I started doing more work from home. And so I started doing more coaching, blogging, course creation, and a way to work with people virtually. I mean, I guess, we're working together right now over YouTube. So, there are these other ways to get the information out there for people. So you may want to look into blogging and course creation, because that is something you can completely do from your own home. And then also because you're blogging or writing a book or putting something out there that you're working on at home, you're going to attract clients from all over because your blog will be global. So you may get a client in another country or another part of the world, and you can work with them over the phone. So definitely check out the resources at the virtual NAPO chapter. Personally, I like a coaching model of working with people. So actually next week I have a virtual client, and my model is more like I said, coaching. So I'm only going to be sort of on a Zoom video conference call for an hour. But I'll do an action plan, and I do my initial phone calls. I do those over Zoom. So I'm always kind of starting with my clients like over Zoom, over video chat. That's kind of our first part of our relationship building. And then what I will do is a coaching relationship after that. So it may be, a call once a month or every 2 weeks, and they will be working on their own in their home on specific categories. And I'll use my Trello action plan. I use an app called Trello, and I'll kind of put those milestones and checklist into Trello, and then they can see that on their phone or on their computer. So we're kind of sharing this digital app that's allowing me to keep up with their progress, and then we're going to touch base in sort of an hour-long coach call, on a regular schedule. So that's how I work with my organizing clients virtually. And I know there are some organizers who will do like a 3-hour session, and that I don't know. I feel like I don't work very well in that environment, but I know others do it. So you'll definitely want to check that out and see if you can get it working for yourself. Yeah, and same question, beautiful day organizing. Can you talk about virtual organizing? Yeah, so it is possible. And I will say too, with virtual, because you can work with anyone, anywhere in the world, you really want to put a lot of emphasis onto your website, your social media, and I feel like you need to blog. I feel like you need to write and get that information out there, because you're not just looking to attract people in your community. When I'm working face to face with people, I'm only going 20 miles away. So, it's very localized. But with virtual, go ahead and do and market your services to a wider audience. So definitely get your website in check and your social media. Great. Let's see. I've got a couple. Actually, I got an email that kind of just came in. Let's right before my call here. Let's see. Okay, so Jennifer has a question about starting the business as a side hustle while she keeps her full-time job, to pay the bills and have the business take off. So she's just going to be doing weekends. And if someone has a large job that takes like 12 hours, she's just kind of figuring out how she's going to get that done when she only has that weekend time. And to do the project possibly over multiple weekends. So let me go back over here. Yeah, so I wanted to say a little bit about side hustle, your organizing business. And I mean, I have been there. Let me tell you, like, I still needed to pay my mortgage and make my car payment when I started my business. But one thing I did, because you will run into this problem where you get a client and they're all excited to work with a professional organizer and you're ready to go. And then you walk into that job, and this is a good problem to have, but you look around and you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me 20, 40, 60 hours to organize this home. And I'm only available on Saturday afternoons or Monday nights. And you start to think, really to do this job, you have to have that time open in your calendar, as well as the time to go to networking events and to, market yourself within your community. So just a quick side note, what I did when I started my business is that I did leave my full-time job and I worked part-time jobs to pay the bills And then I started taking organizing clients as soon as possible. And then through my networking efforts, I was getting clients that wanted me to work with them, 8 hours a week. Actually, I had 2 clients pretty soon after I launched my business who wanted to work with me each wanted 1 day per week. Well, that's 16 hours. So, I would never have been able to stay at my corporate job where I was working 50 hours a week, Monday through Friday, and have that opportunity to work those jobs. So some of this really is a bit of a leap of faith to, get your business up off the ground and understand, the planning that it takes in order to, shift your career around. But just keep that in mind that, hopefully what's going to happen is people are going to want you to work with them. And it's not going to be something you can just do, 2 hours on the evening or over the weekend. So for this issue, because I know, was it Jennifer? Yeah, I think you're already kind of in this. So you've already gotten the client, but you're still working your full-time job. Yeah, I would definitely be making a plan to gravitate towards your organizing business, because clearly you have someone who is ready to pay you to do this job. So that is fantastic. Yeah, I think the reality is you're only going to be able to take that one client, and you're going to have to kind of chunk it into multiple weekends. So you're going to say, okay, this Saturday we're going to do the walk-in closet, and next Saturday we're going to do the pantry, and then just kind of do what you can. But of course you're realizing, I'm sure, that, well, wait a minute, I can't take any other clients because now this one job has taken all of my time. So, the good news is you have a client, which is great. All of us, when we get a client, we need to be thinking about getting referrals for more clients, so you're going to hopefully be turning that client into a couple of referrals, and then you can build your business from there. But yeah, I think you're just going to have to do what you can with that client, and you may be working with that one client for 3 months or the time that it takes to finish that job. And then in the meantime, you're not bringing any more clients into your business. So, we really don't want that to happen until you have kind of a full-time business that's thriving, where you can bring in these clients. So do the best you can. Yeah, break it down into, kind of 1-day jobs, 2-day jobs, if you can work Saturday and Sunday, and, use that money to invest in your business and get it launched and off the ground. And then best case scenario, that client's going to refer you to 3 clients, and now you can launch a full-time business. So I hope that works out for you. Let's see here. We've got a question about, can you talk about marketing the business? Yes, of course. I love talking about marketing, organizing businesses, ideas, and suggestions. So, God, I could talk about this for probably 10 hours. I really believe in organic marketing, which means the things that you can do that are, lower cost items that you can just kind of get started with. So that's your Instagram, a Facebook business page, printing a business card, and going out and networking within your community. At some point you kind of have to make that leap of faith and put out a professional website and kind of open the doors to launch your business, because people are going to want to know that you're invested in the business of organizing. You're more likely to get those jobs if it's not a side hustle, that if, you kind of live and breathe organizing, you're marketing, you're speaking to your community, you're spreading, word of mouth. When you have a client, you're going to get 2 or 3 more clients from them, because you're going to ask for a testimonial, and you're also going to give them an incentive to refer you. So if you get that client, you want to make sure that they know that you want to be working with their friends, and that you will take, $50 off the next session, or give them a gift card once they refer a friend who pays you for another session. So there is some, building with this business where, you want to take one client and turn it into 3. And I don't know if you have my Launch Your Organizing Business, my freebie, my free guide. If you go to myspacematters.com/guide, you can get a copy of that. Or if you're on my email list, you probably already have a copy if you've gotten on my email list recently. And in that free guide, and I'll put that in the description of this video as well, where you can find it, I have something in there called a niche worksheet. And I really want you guys to think about what type of organizer you're going to be. Are you going to work with students with ADD? Are you going to work with seniors to help them downsize? Are you going to work with hoarders? Are you going to be like a closet install specialist? Are you going to be a stager? So there's this whole big world of, professional organizing. And I want you to kind of figure out where you may fit in that world based on your past experience and all of those things. And then you really want to try to market within that niche. So, for example, if you wanted to help students with ADD organize their, homework stations, let's just say, then if that's going to be your specialty, then you need to reach out to tutors, students, PTAs, moms. You want to really get in front of those groups of people and make sure that they understand your services so they can refer you. Now, if you are going to be downsizing seniors, you're not going to get in front of the PTA and the moms groups and all of these things. So your marketing strategy is going to be very different. So I hope that makes sense. You don't want to just be, handing your business card out at the grocery store, as some of my new coaching students tell me that they do, and I go, no, we're not gonna market your business that way. You don't want to cast such a big, wide net because it's harder to get referrals that way. So you want to figure out, a niche, and then you want to market within that niche for a couple of months and try to get kind of saturated in that market. And you basically have to kind of become famous, in your own market for knowing something, in the organizing communities. So make sure that people know exactly what you do and what population you're going to serve. All right. So good luck to you. Let's see. We've got another. Okay. So beautiful day. I've added unpacking to my services. Yeah. A professional organizer told me to be insured. Was it me? Because that's the first thing I would say. To be insured if I want to add this. The professional organizer told me if I pack, it makes me liable. In her business, she has the moving company pack. Thoughts? Yes, I do have thoughts on this because, so you guys who want to get into relocation services, there is the packing side of it and there's the unpacking side of it. So from a liability perspective, and first of all, let me just say, if you're working as a professional organizer and going into people's homes and moving stuff around, you need insurance, full stop. So you should have your general liability insurance and so on, just to do this job of organizing. But yes, packing poses a special sort of liability concern, which is if I go to a client's home and I pack stuff in a box, and then the moving company comes and takes that box and moves it, if the items are damaged on the other side, even if it's from the moving company will not insure the box that I packed. So what I recommend to my clients is for relocation services, I go into the house and I like to start with just like a decluttering. So, I might have my haulers take away furniture and exercise equipment and stuff they don't want to move to the next house. So my pitch with that is, don't move stuff that you're not going to use. Let's downsize first, make sure everything that you're paying the movers to take, you want to keep. So, as part of relocation, you can do a declutter and downsize prior to the move. So that's great. That would be covered under, the initial, the liability that you've set up with your insurance agent, if you set that up correctly. Now, I do avoid packing, particularly packing of breakable items. And I have packed for my clients, but I always tell them whatever I pack is considered self-pack and will not be insured door to door. So I'm going to tell them that straight off the bat. If I pack this box and your movers move it, and it's broken on the other end, we don't know if that was my packing or they're moving, but either way, it's not going to be insured by the moving company. So what I recommend is that the moving company pack anything, definitely all the breakables, but if they can pack, then whatever they pack should be insured door to door based on, check with their policies. But a reputable moving company will insure the things that they pack. So I would be mindful of packing those items. And you can be honest with your clients. I tell them that from the beginning. Sometimes I will do some packing of non-breakable items while we are moving house. And, I still give them the spiel about it not being, insured door to door. And we might pack some papers or books as part of a decluttering process because I'm already kind of in there moving stuff around. But just definitely keep that in mind that in my opinion, it's better for the moving company to take the high value and breakable items and have control of that item door to door so that it is insured. And and then of course unpacking is different, because when you unpack the box from the professional moving company, the box will be labeled with like a number and different things. And what I do is if I unpack the box and an item is broken, I take a picture of it. I'll kind of, I don't really unpack that box. I'll kind of set it aside, and I'm going to stage any broken items so that they can make the insurance claim and they can, negotiate that with the moving company. So I'm still playing a role in that. But what I'm doing at that point is I'm unpacking, and if something's broken, I'm alerting the client, and then I'm setting that aside for them and the moving company to deal with the liability issues that, of course, would not involve me, because I'm just going to leave those broken items packed as is so that they can take that up later. But relocation services are great to add to your organizing business. It's actually a really big time that people decide to organize, or they become aware of the clutter in their life when they need to move it. So great specialty to have, and to let people know that you can help them in their relocation process, and that you'll partner with the movers to, make the transition very smooth for them. Okay, so Julie says, I'm just starting to try and figure out if this is something I want to do. I'm setting up with a session with a friend next week. Any advice you have on things to keep in mind? It's appreciated. When I go into a home, I talk to the person first over the phone, and what I'm trying to do, this may be different because you may know your friend pretty well, but when people call me, I don't know them at all. And so I'm just trying to figure out like, what are we doing here? Julie, I don't know if you have my essential forms, if you're a part of my essential forms course, but you definitely want to probably jump in on that if you are not already, because there's an intake form that I have that's going to start to kind of get some pre-screening questions out of the way. And then, so I start with that, like pre-screening, like, hey, why are you calling an organizer today? What's going on in your life? What's the most important, what's causing you the most stress in your life? What is it? So I'm trying to prioritize like what I'm going to do in their house and where I'm going to start. So I'm asking them a lot of like get to know you questions and get to know the space questions. So that's a good thing to start with. And then I'm going to go to their home and I'm going to do a consultation and kind of put together a plan. And so also in that essential forms course, let me put the coupon link in here while I'm thinking about it. It is in the description of this video. It should be but I do have a coupon for that course, which makes it very affordable. And it's a very popular course that people get from me. I'm just going to, hopefully you guys can see that in the comments there. And then I would schedule a time to do a planning session, unless, like, again, it's your friend, so you might know some things. Like if she says, we're only going to do, like, let's do the pantry or let's do the closet, like have a specific area in mind if you're going to jump right into doing a project during that session. If you don't know and she doesn't know and you want to, then I would do a consultation during the first session. So the first session would be a home tour. It would be helping her prioritize, planning out projects that you're going to do together. Like, okay, we're going to start with your kids' room this summer, and then we're going to move into the pantry before Thanksgiving. You know, you're just kind of planning the whole thing out, because of course they have multiple spaces that need organizing. It's pretty rare to go into a house and they just have one closet that's disorganized and the rest of the house is perfectly organized. It's not typical. So, you know, the whole house functions as an ecosystem. And so you're going to need to kind of put some pieces together. So either do that first one as kind of a walkthrough, and you're going to be giving tips and advice per room, and don't really organize anything specific, or get a specific project in place first. Like we're going to work in your craft room or your kitchen and kind of get an area that you're going to focus in, because, you know, we get into these people's houses and of course everything has a story, and there's lots of rooms, and there's a basement and an attic and a garage and, you know, 3 walk-in closets, and 2 hours goes by and you're like, what am I doing? So I don't want you to be like deer in the headlights with your clients. So I would kind of follow that model. And then if you decide on an area, like, okay, I'm coming over Tuesday, we're going to do the pantry, I use a method called GDP. And I know students of my intro course will know this because I talk about it all the time. GDP. So that's gather and sort like items, make decisions, and then do your put away. So that's what you're going to follow for every project. So let's say you're going to go in, you're going to do the pantry. First step, you're going to gather and sort like items. You're going to go, okay, this is the oils and vinegars, and this is the cereal, and you're going to kind of just sort things out, you know, take everything out of the space. You can clean it and kind of start fresh. Then you're going to make decisions. So you're going to say, hey, these foods are expired. Can we toss them? So that's a decision. You know, hey, you're telling me you don't really bake that much, but you have a lot of baking equipment in your pantry. Can we downsize some of that? So that's all part of the decision making. And you're going to walk through that. And then you're going to do the put away. The put away is the fun stuff. That's the labeling and the shopping and the, you know, all the pretty stuff you see on Instagram and Pinterest with like the labels on the decanting. Decanting is part of the put away process. So yeah, just in that order. You know, you don't want to just walk in and start like decanting, because you're just going to be left with like a big mess, because you're only going to get like a little bit of a shelf done. So just follow GDP. I'm going to put this in GDP. If you remember GDP, you can get through any organizing project. All right, let's see. Did Laura? Let's see. We've got Laura coming here. I already got my first paying client outside of family. Yay! So how did you announce or launch your business to your community? So I don't rely on referrals only. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, referrals are, I mean, for me, they're my bread and butter. I mean, I'm getting mainly referrals at this point. I will get the odd client who, you know, just kind of randomly found me, but I get so much business on referrals. I don't really need, you know, that piece of it, because I have enough work. But yes, you, so don't, you know, I mean, those referrals are important, and, you know, do what you can to get those referrals. But as far as getting business from, you know, people in the community who do not know you, that's really going to be your public facing marketing strategy. So, you know, your basics are going to be a website, you know, Instagram, Facebook, anything that's public facing that people can share and kind of check you out before they call. So you've got sort of your digital marketing. And then you've got, I'm a big fan of the word of mouth with speaking in your community. So if you want to meet, like if you want people to become aware of you in your community, I don't know what your specialty is or your niche, but you can put together a little workshop. This has been kind of funny during COVID. I mean, a lot of us have been doing like virtual workshops, but I think by fall, we might start having some small gatherings where I live, maybe different where you are. But yeah, get out. I mean, this is what I did in the beginning. I went and spoke at Goodwill. I spoke at my library. I spoke to moms groups, garden clubs, ladies clubs, neighborhood associations. So, anyone who had a group of people that were generally in my target audience, I would put something together, a little tip sheet or a little workbook, not workbook, a little worksheet, and I would go and present that to them in like a 20-minute kind of speech and do like a Q&A. So, and then you're meeting tons of new people. You can also do networking clubs. That's your BNI, your Chamber of Commerce, there's a couple that are just women based. So I'd look for networking groups in your community. Again, with COVID, they may have been taken off some time, but I think we're kind of at the point where they're going to start getting together again. And a lot of them have like Facebook groups now and do virtual meetings, so you can still kind of network with people. And then it'll still sort of be a referral, but it's like you're meeting someone the first time, and either they need your services or they have a friend, and then they're going to send that friend to your website and or your Instagram and Facebook, and then they're going to learn more about you. And then they're going to call you for, a consultation or a session or some type of work. So yeah, if you don't have those public facing pieces together yet, I would focus on them. And then probably by the time you get that in order, the world will open up and we will have networking and public workshops again. So that may kind of work out in your favor, and you will be working lots of jobs. Okay, so Claudia says, I'd like to help people downsizing and emptying houses, but doing it after a sudden death can be extremely difficult. Hold on, this is a two-part. What if I ever see a client that needs professional help? Okay, I see what we're getting at here. Is it okay to refer them to a counselor? Yeah, I mean, there is this whole world of course, hoarding, but there's also a whole world of chronic disorganization, meaning that, and anyone who's working as a professional organizer, I'm telling you, you're going to run into someone with a chronic problem, and that problem could stem from depression. It could stem from grieving. Someone has a traumatic event and then they're no longer able to organize their space. So yeah, I think everyone here should be prepared to potentially go into a disorganized space or have a client call who says, I just can't get it together, after this traumatic event. And that may, of course, be grieving or some other loss in their life. And now they're unable to organize. Very likely. I mean, it's happened to me quite a few times. I should tell you guys, ICD, the Institute for Challenging Disorganization, you're going to want to give them a Google because they do a lot of training for professional organizers who deal with some of these issues, grieving, depression, even, ADD, hoarding, that type of thing. So I'm trained by ICD. That was some training I got in the very beginning when I started my business. I think I trained with them from like 2002 to maybe 2007. But how they trained us was to just say it, just acknowledge it. And sometimes people will just say it during our initial phone call. So I think the pre-screening of your clients in that initial call is going to be very telling if you ask questions and just listen. So my clients will often tell me, here's the question to ask. Was there a time when you were organized? And what they will say is, before my mother passed away, I was really organized, and I have not been able to get things together since then. Since my divorce, I was organized before my divorce, and then I had to move very quickly because of the divorce, and I've never been organized since. So just asking that question, if you remember a time and you've been organized, they will usually allude to the event that has kind of cascaded and sort of created this clutter in their lives. So you may just find out about it during the pre-screening. And what I will say, if I feel comfortable, is I will say, have you approached a coach, counselor, or therapist about these concerns? So just, I don't feel like I'm overstepping any professional boundaries, especially if they have brought it up. And you can just say, are they doing that? And then, you have a confidentiality agreement, I hope, with your clients that you're going to share at the beginning of that relationship. And so they should be comfortable sharing that personal information with you because they know that you're not going to share that information with anyone else. So there's a little bit of buildup to, when you're having that conversation. So I think that's absolutely, okay to say that. I think it's up to you if you want to refer a counselor. I kind of avoid that area just because, like I said, sometimes it's hoarding, sometimes it's grieving, sometimes it's depression, sometimes it's, PTSD. And it's like, I don't really have this full directory of like every therapist in my area that's, it's currently taking clients and that type of thing. But typically for me, they seem to already have someone, which is good. And then if not, I may say, that's someone who could probably help you transition out of this time. And it would be a good, we could have a good working relationship where I'm going to help you with some behavioral changes at home. And they can help you with some more of those mental, obstacles that you're facing. So I think it's perfectly okay to, have those conversations and see where it goes. Certainly if you are going to specialize in, let's say, hoarding or, PTSD or something, you probably should partner with a therapist who specializes that in your community. And then you could certainly have that referral relationship. And yes, I have actually gone to therapy sessions with my clients. And if you get to that stage where you are actually in contact with their mental health professional, there are just some documents that you're going to sign and that they're going to sign, and you're just going to be very transparent if you're going to be sharing information with their counselor, because there is a way to do that, but you want to sign some documents just to make sure that, of course, that's okay with your client. So the counselor should not be sharing anything, and you should not be sharing anything without that disclosure agreement, if it gets to that point. But yes, Claudia, it has happened, and it could very well happen for all of you guys as you get deeper into this industry. I have one question. Let's see. I've got one question from email, and then I'll go here to the question about containers. Actually, let me pop this up because Yaneth, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's funny because that was the question I answered at the opening of this live Q&A, is about the containers. So if you popped in late, just listen to the first like 5 minutes, because I gave my whole spiel about this. And I also have a video on my YouTube channel about containers, and I think it's already in the description box of this video. So you definitely want to buy. It's free. I didn't mean that. I was thinking buy containers. You definitely want to watch the YouTube video on this, because this is like a 10-minute thing that I go into. But remember earlier when I said GDP, gather and sort, make decisions, and then do your put away? Your containers are part of put away. So I'm going to sort through the area. I'm going to ask the client questions. We're going to decide what to keep. And then I'm going to measure and go into purchasing containers. So I do not buy them before starting the project. I buy them well, we talk about purchasing them after I've done 2 of the 3 steps of the organizing project. And as far as who's buying it, my preferred method, just because it saves me a lot of time and stress with like returning items, is that during an organizing session, after I've done the gather and sort and we've kind of decided what is going to stay and where it's going to go, then I will provide them with some Amazon links or Container Store or IKEA or whatever, wherever we're purchasing. I will give them the links to the products I want them to purchase. And then the easiest thing for me has been then for the client to purchase them. And sometimes I sit there with them, like at their computer, to purchase them and have them delivered to their house. So that saves a lot of time, But yeah, check out the full video on that and the beginning of this video. Yeah, the Beautiful Day ask, do you have the pre-screening video? Yes, it is called Working. It's called something like How I Work with Strangers. Let me go. I'm actually going to just go to my YouTube channel and put in strangers. Okay, and I think I can just, let me grab this link and I'll just put it in the comments here. It's called Pre-Screen Your Professional Organizing Leads and Get Referrals. How do professional organizers get comfortable working in strangers' homes? So if you go to my YouTube channel, I'm going to put it here in the comments. Yeah, go ahead and watch that video. And if you guys are watching the replay, and I think you will still have access to these comments, but if not, go to my YouTube channel and just put in strangers, like search the channel and say strangers, and you'll see that video come up. And then if you're looking to get more information in a course, the course you want to get right now, I have 2 bundles. One is the intro course with the blueprint workbook. And the other one is the full bundle. So you guys can get all my, I'm trying to keep my classes basically the same price as if you went and did like one organizing job. So you guys can get all my classes, all my forms, everything that I've got for under $200. So check the description of this video. I've got kind of a $100 bundle and then like a $187 bundle, and pre-screening is going to be in both of those bundles. It's going to be in the first bundle, the $99, it's going to be in there in the course, and then it's going to be, okay, the course, yeah, it'll be in the course, and then the full bundle, you'll get the forms as well. So you'll get that pre-screening, that's the essential forms, will be in that second bundle. So good luck with that. I had another question that came over email. Let me see if I can pull that up, because it was a really good question about certification and imposter syndrome, which I get this question a lot, guys, about, do I need to be certified? Are people going to take me seriously, working in this profession? And let me see. So many good emails. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Okay, here you go. So the question is, she says her biggest concern is not being certified and having an accreditation. So there's certifications you guys can get. I've got a couple of them and certificates and that type of thing. So she's a little concerned about putting herself out there without having all of this in place. So what the advice that I would give to you guys, because we all start in the beginning with just the experience that we have. And I don't want you guys to experience the, what I call the imposter syndrome, which is where you don't feel like you're qualified to do something and you feel kind of insecure about that. So my advice to you is, in the beginning, you're just going to take what I would call kind of easier jobs. So, you don't want your first job to be like a hoarded house, or your first job to be like a senior who has to downsize in 3 days and you need to bring in an estate agent and you have to do all these things. So there's very complicated projects you can do as a professional organizer, and you're going to build up to that based on your training and your certifications and experience. So this is something you're going to build up to, but I don't want that to prevent you from just getting started in the business. So a great tip that I would give to everyone is network with other organizers in your market and find out who people are who's really experienced in something. And then get to know them, offer to, probably connect with them online or email or something, and ask them if you can refer business to them if it's something that's just too complicated for you. So, hey, I'm a new organizer. I'm kind of specializing in kitchens and closets. And if I run into a hoarding job, I see that you're a hoarding specialist with this certification and this extra training. Can I refer that business to you? So you're going to kind of form those relationships. And then I'll tell you guys, it may also work in your favor where that really specialized organizer doesn't want to do the easy jobs. They don't want to just do a pantry or, a simple closet, and they may want to refer those to you because they don't have time, or they're kind of price prohibitive because they've been in the business a long time and they specialize in something specific. So you don't need to take jobs that are, outside of your skill level. You're going to be working towards that skill level as you're working potentially towards a certification. So, and it's a great networking opportunity, and just kind of know where your skills are and where you're going to go. Yeah, so the courses I'm talking about are open. So the only thing that's not open right now is my coaching program, because that is a 6-week course that I just schedule when I don't know if you guys on this chat know, but I've been working on A&E's Hoarders, so the Hoarders TV show, and we're kind of in the middle of some filming, and so sometimes I have to leave town for a couple of weeks, so I don't really have 6 weeks kind of open and clear to do the coaching program. So that's the only one that is not open, but everything else is open. You can, it's all on-demand courses, so you can get the bundles that are in the description of this video are open now. You can purchase them. They're on demand. And then for the coaching program, when I have 6 weeks that I know I'm going to be home and in my office and available to work with people, I will reopen that. So hopefully that'll be open later this summer or in the fall. I feel like okay, I think I'm on track here. Yeah, and so in the meantime, so like I said, the courses are available and open. I do have clarity calls. So Organizing with Purpose, I don't know if you're asking about you doing a clarity call with me, which I do, and you can book through my website, or if you're talking about you doing a clarity call with your client. So I'll speak to that. And you can certainly do a clarity call with me, and I'll explain to you how to do a clarity call. So it'll be all full circle. Yeah, but if I'm conducting a clarity call with my client, this is my free 20-minute call with, if someone just is like, hey, I want you to organize my house, or, I want you to coach me. I said, let's jump on, and I do it over Zoom. And I use an app called, or a software called Calendly, which just allows me, people can look at my schedule, they can book a time, and then it goes directly on my calendar. So I can be working with a client and they can book their clarity calls. So that's how I book it. And then when I'm on it, I'm really going to be asking open-ended questions. I mean, if it's an organizing client, I'm going to say, was there a time when you were organized? What's causing them a stress? Why are you calling an organizer now? That type of thing. So yeah, open-ended questions and get the other person talking. So that's kind of how I'm doing my clarity calls when it's a new organizing client. If it's a professional organizer that's doing a clarity call with me, I ask a few questions, and then we're going to kind of jump into some stuff and kind of tell them what options are available. But yes, if you got, so my website, let me just type that in here. It's it should be in the description as well, but I am at myspacematters.com, and you can click on schedule, or, you know, there's kind of buttons that you guys can book with me. I also do one-on-one coaching. So the one-on-one coaching is always open. That's, you know, if you guys want to book anytime a one-on-one coach call, you can book those. But the 6-week coaching program, which I absolutely love, and I think it's just a great deal and everyone gets a lot out of it, then I'll let you guys know on the email list when that reopens. Yeah, this is a fun question, actually, about going over prices on the clarity calls. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell clients, again, I'm going to stay away from those big estimates and the big project proposals. I'm not going to do those, especially when I haven't even been to the house yet. And I don't really know. So really, the only thing I am typically selling them over the phone is a consultation. And so I will either, you know, I'll listen, get information, and then typically at the end of that call, I'm going to recommend either we do a consultation, and so I'll tell them the price of that. It's a set price. So I'm not doing hourly. I do a set price for my consultations. And then I have a set price for my sessions. So there are cases where we will go right into a session, you know, depending on the situation. So then I'll say, okay, I'd like to start with, you know, a session in your home office, and a session with me is going to be this amount. So I definitely tell them the prices, and it's a little easier after a consultation for me to kind of map out the whole project, because I may go in to a home and I realize, okay, I'm going to have to do 3 sessions in the kitchen and 2 in the main closet, and I'm kind of mapping it out. And also I will bring in another organizer. So the pricing is going to vary if I say, hey, I'm going to do 3 sessions with you, or I can bring in a second and third organizer and we can knock this out in a day and it's going to be this amount. So I have sort of different pricing structures that I can get into with that. Awesome, guys. I think our hour is up. If you're not on the email list or the Facebook group, which is Organizing for Professionals, please jump in there. And if you have any other questions, I'm happy to get to those on our next live, which will probably be in about 2 weeks. I'll try to do one more. I'll try to do one more live before I sort of travel again, which may be in June. So, oh, okay. I'm going to ask one more follow-up on that. Yes, the consultation results in an action plan. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when I go to the consultation, I'm typically also putting the plan and then giving them a plan as part of the consultation. And I would highly recommend you guys do the same with that. And of course, I have courses about creating action plans, so you'll want to look that up as well. Okay, guys, well, enjoy the rest of your day. It was so nice chatting with you, and I'll leave this video up for a while if you want to go back and review and stay in touch.